Have you ever wondered what makes one preschool feel completely different from another? Well, it all comes down to philosophy. What happens in a classroom isn't random. It's all driven by a core set of beliefs about how children grow, think, and learn. Today, we're going to explore 4 really powerful visions for early learning.
Really think about it. When you walk into a preschool, what do you see? In one room, maybe the kids are quietly focused, working on their own with some very specific materials. In another, the walls are just covered in these amazing collaborative art projects. And in a third, you might see a group of 4-year-olds gathered in a circle, seriously planning out their entire morning. These aren't just different activities, they're the visible results of some deeply held, really intentional educational philosophies.
So, today, we're going to unpack 4 of the most influential philosophies in early childhood education. We're going to look at Montessori, Waldorf, High Scope, and the Reggio Emilia approach. Each one gives us a totally unique lens for understanding childhood and, well, education itself.
To really get a clear picture, we're going to compare these 4 models across a few key themes: how they see the child, what the teacher's role is, how the learning environment is set up, and their ideas about how children actually learn. And then, we'll wrap it all up by thinking about how you can start to build your own teaching philosophy.
Okay, so let's start with the absolute foundation, the most fundamental building block of any educational approach, the image of the child. How a philosophy views a child's basic nature, their capabilities, well, that shapes everything that comes next.
This amazing idea comes from Loris Malaguzzi, who founded the Reggio Emilia approach. He believed kids have 100 languages to express their ideas. Painting, building, drama, music. This view sees the child not as some empty bucket we have to fill with knowledge, but as a rich, competent, and creative person right from the start.
And as you can see, each philosophy really does start from a different place. Reggio sees a competent kid who helps build their own knowledge. Montessori sees a naturally curious learner who just needs the freedom and tools to really thrive on their own. Waldorf education sees a whole being of head, heart, and hands, someone who needs to be nurtured intellectually, emotionally, and practically. And then there's High Scope, which views the child as an active, hands-on learner, a doer, who builds knowledge through direct experience.
So, why does this matter so much? Here's the crucial point. Your internal image of the child dictates every single interaction you have. Do you see a child who needs you to instruct them, or one who needs you to provoke their curiosity? One who needs structure, or one who needs freedom? This one core belief changes literally everything.
And this brings us right to our next big question: the role of the teacher. If the child is this capable explorer, then what's the adult's job? Are you a director, a gentle guide, or maybe a research partner?
This is where we see some really fascinating differences. In a Montessori room, the teacher is a guide. Their job is to observe carefully, present a specific material, and then step back. They let the child discover on their own. The Waldorf teacher is more of a nurturing role model, focused on creating a warm, secure, almost home-like feeling. The High Scope teacher, they're an active facilitator and partner. They'll get right in there, join the play, and support learning with thoughtful questions. And the Reggio teacher, well, they're a co-learner, a researcher, listening super closely to what kids are saying and thinking, and then provoking new ideas. So you see, in all of these models, the teacher's main job isn't just to dump information into kids' heads. It's to intentionally create the exact conditions for learning that match up with their philosophy's image of the child.
Which leads us perfectly to our third theme, the learning environment. Because in a lot of these philosophies, the physical space isn't just a container for learning to happen in, it's actually an active participant.
The Reggio Emilia approach has this famous idea of the environment as the third teacher, right up there with the adult and the other kids. This means the classroom itself is designed to be a living space that takes part in the education process. It's supposed to provoke questions, encourage teamwork, and support really deep engagement.
Just take a look at this space. This is a perfect example of that idea in action. Notice how it's not cluttered? Everything you see has a purpose. The natural light, the organized materials that are easy to get to, it's all designed to say, I respect you as a learner, and to invite kids in to explore and create.
And of course, each philosophy shapes its environment differently to hit its own goals. Montessori has the prepared environment, where everything's on low, open shelves to empower independence. Waldorf focuses on a cozy home-like feel, using natural materials, think wood, wool, silk, to nurture the senses and imagination. And High Scope really emphasizes a clearly organized space with well-defined areas to support its daily routine and help kids make choices. All right, so we've got our image of the child, the role of the teacher, and the environment. So now let's get into the how. What's the actual process of learning in each of these models? What's it really look like day to day?
So a key feature of the high-scope curriculum is this three-part cycle: plan, do, review. First, at the beginning of work time, each kid makes a plan for what they're going to do. Then they go and do it. And this is the crucial part. At the end, they all get together to review and talk about what they did. This simple but really powerful cycle builds decision-making, follow-through, and something educators call metacognition, which is basically the ability to think about your own thinking. Pretty cool, huh?
Now here we see two very different paths to hands-on learning. In Montessori, it's all about these specially designed self-correcting materials. A child works with them at their own pace, and the material itself gives them feedback. It allows for individual mastery. Waldorf, on the other hand, puts imagination and the arts right at the center. Learning happens through rich storytelling, music, and creative play with simple, open-ended stuff from nature.
And the Reggio Emilia approach, well, it's different again. Here, learning happens through these long-term projects. And these aren't pre-planned themes from a box. Nope. They pop up directly from the kids' own questions and curiosities. A chance meeting with a snail on the playground could spark a months-long investigation with drawing, sculpting, research, all kinds of collaborative problem-solving.
Okay, we have covered a lot. So where does this leave you as a future educator? As you start thinking about your own career, maybe even looking at ECE programs right here in California, the goal isn't to just memorize these models. It's really to start building your own intentional philosophy of teaching.
I want to leave you with this fantastic quote from an educator named Julianne Worm. What we believe about children is visible in the choices we make within our schools. This is it. This is the core takeaway. Your philosophy isn't just some essay you write for a class. It becomes visible in the materials you pick, the way you set up your room, and the words you use with children every single day.
At the end of the day, there is no single best model. Each of these philosophies offers a powerful toolkit of ideas. The real goal for you is not to become a rigid follower of one doctrine, but to borrow, blend, and build a personal, intentional practice that reflects what you truly believe about children and that really responds to the communities you're going to serve.
And that leaves us with one final question for you to carry with you as you continue your studies and move into your career. What do you believe about children? Are they scientists, artists, builders? And once you decide, how will every corner of your future classroom, every single interaction, and every moment of your day make that belief visible? Because the children, they're waiting to see it.